I think the 49ers have to be a big loser. I know what they're doing. We all could sense what they're doing. They're trying to do a youth movement, trying to get rid of some older parts that are getting hurt, banged up. Greenlaw, Hufanga. They let Aaron Banks, Travarius Ward. His situation was a lot different. I feel like he needed to change of scenery just for his mental health and with his situation he's been dealing with. Elijah Mitchell, Josh Dobbs. Those are, whatever. Jalen Moore, solid backup tackle behind Trent Williams. I understand, him moving on, going to get a starting job because you still have Trent Williams. You're losing a lot of high caliber players. You lost like 6 starters on defense. You cut Leonard Floyd. You let some of these guys go. Him opposite Nick Bosa, that really was your defensive line. Leonard Floyd had 8.5 sacks this year. So your defensive line is nothing. Evan Anderson starting at defensive tackle? Like, other than Nick Bosa, that's it. Linebackers, you're in trouble. Greenlaw's gone. Your backup linebacker went to the Giants. So you're really thin at the linebacker position other than Fred Warner. Cornerback position, you need to get another corner in the mix. And this was already a struggling defense. Losing 6 starters on defense, it's tough. Offensively, too, the offensive line needs to get better. You traded Deebo Samuel away. You're getting a lot of capital. You have 11 draft picks. You're really banking on this draft to hit. If the 49ers hit on a lot of these picks, 60% of these picks, okay, I'll shut up. This was a good offseason plan for them. They have like 20 picks in the next 2 drafts, I think. But the chances of that are very unlikely. Unless you're the Philadelphia Eagles. But yeah, the chances of that aren't very likely. This last draft, they had a pretty decent run. They picked up some pretty good players. But getting rid of Jordan Mason, that move doesn't make sense when, you would think, okay, you're getting rid of older parts. You're getting rid of people that are, getting banged up a lot. You think CMC would be one person you would consider trading. Instead of a Brandon Ayuk that you've, been shopping. You would think you would go that direction. They cut Kyle Juszczyk, but brought him back. Brought him back on a, reworked contract. I feel like that is a staple. That's a tone setter. You need him back in the building. He gives you a lot of creativity, versatility in the offense. The run game looks a lot different without him out there. Matchup nightmare still, even at the age that he is right now, in the current stage of his career. I don't like the 49ers banking on the draft. You're supposed to build on the draft, but with the players, the pieces that they have in place, you would think they would still try to, do what they can to, try and go win a championship. They're not that far off. This was just a season that, a lot of guys got hurt. But now, getting rid of some core pieces, you had a little bit of cap space. You could have brought back Greenlaw and Hufanga. I would have brought those guys back. The rest, okay, Aaron Banks, you could go. Greenlaw and Hufanga are still young. They're still all pro caliber players. And the tough part, this division, the Seahawks. You might like the Seahawks more than the Niners now. The Rams are the best team in this division. Devontae Adams, Matthew Stafford, Puka now. That defense is young, getting better and better. The Rams, Les Snead is drafting really well. Every year they're hitting in the draft with their picks. And it's going to be another year of that, potentially. So the Rams are the best team in this division. The 49ers, if they want to make the playoffs, they got to go through the wild card. And yeah, this draft is going to be huge. But the direction they're going right now, it's looking like a rebuild. It's looking like, a reshape. They're changing some things around. Kyle Shanahan, John Lynch, they're good at what they do. Kyle Shanahan could put anybody at the running back position and he'll succeed. Elijah Mitchell was an example of that. Jordan Mason. So trading Jordan Mason away, that was like, I was confused by that because CMC's 29 years old. He's getting hurt. Nobody knows what CMC we're going to get next year. And having 2 hamstring injuries, he had to go out the country to get a second opinion. I would have moved on from CMC. Right now, a team could have probably bid on that. A team that needs playmakers desperately for a young quarterback. I could see somebody biting on a CMC and, just move forward with Isaac Guerendo now. With Isaac Guerendo and Jordan Mason. You could have done that, but you traded away Jordan Mason, a young, underrated running back who had 700 yards rushing in 12 games. He was a bell cow. He showed you he could be an every down back. He was impactful in the receiving game. So that move felt backwards to me. Now the 49ers, they made some moves, some decent additions. DeMarcus Robinson, I really like that move. Underrated receiver, but I don't think they did anything to make them better. They have to draft D tackle, D ends. They have to draft like starting caliber players, impact players on the defensive line and offensive line. And the chances of that, yeah, it's not likely. So this 49ers team, I don't see them in contention for a Super Bowl anymore. With how stacked this NFC is getting, the Vikings, I think, will be better than them. I think, the Rams, obviously, the Lions, the Eagles, 5 teams in the NFC that I would take over the Niners right now. So Championship window is looking close to me, especially if you bag off Brock Purdy. If you give Brock Purdy the bag, you commit to a guy that's showed you when the weapons aren't there, he's not an elite quarterback. He showed you he needs the Avengers out there for him to be elite quarterback. And $55 million, that's what it's looking like you're potentially going to have to give him. And the longer you wait to get a deal done, the more expensive he'll be, because there's going to be other quarterbacks that get paid a bag. And it's like, in that comparison, hey, I'm way better than this guy. The numbers, I went to 2 Super Bowls. They have decent weapons. Jawan Jennings, he showed you he could be a number 1 receiver potentially. Pearsall had 400 yards receiving. Kittle looked like a top 2 tight end in the NFL last year with 1,100 yards receiving. 8 touchdowns, 78 catches. So yeah, there's still talent on this roster, but with them being older, some of these guys, CMC, like I said, we don't know what CMC we're going to get next year. With them having to fill so many holes in the draft, I really don't know what to make of this team. I need to see what they do in April, and if they nail the draft, they could very much do that. Then I'll be back on the 49ers. But right now, I think they're a loser. Some people thought the NFC North was going to be the worst division in football this season. They thought it was going to be as bad as the NFC South.